COVID for you.
I agree. And as while I was fighting for my life here over the last few days, Kayte was down in Vegas for a few of those. Kayte Christensen, our analyst, television-wise, for your Sacramento Kings, having fun, doing great things. And she joins us right now to give her thoughts on the experience. Kayte, it's Dave, it's Jason. Good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Hi. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
I couldn't have
That
been any
was
more awkward. Yeah.
I know, right?
I was
Did we
waiting
make
for
it awkward? What do we do? What happened
was
there?
that?
It was like a long pause.
Can I say why it was awkward? Dave tried to intro her like a normal guest when
did.
usually he has something off the cuff for Kayte that's going to try to throw her off.
Right.
Okay,
Smart
well-
alecky, you know?
Well, listen, Kayte, you and I share the same affinity for Las Vegas. And so I was thinking about this because we also don't like long plane trips. So I know that they used to have Summer League, I believe, if I'm correct, in two separate places. They had Florida and they had Nevada. Guys, I'm right about that, right? Back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an Orlando one, yeah.
Yeah, so my question for you, Kayte, is this. Which would you enjoy more, factoring in the travel? Would you enjoy the nightlife and food in Vegas for Summer League, or would you enjoy like the rides and the fun in Orlando?
That's tough, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm not really a nightlife person, so a foodie, yes, I would enjoy the food. But I don't know, Vegas is I'm like a circus performer in Vegas, just walking through the casino, right? So if you think about Vegas, right, it's almost like I'm the bearded lady, right? You know, everyone wants to point and stare. It's a bunch of men there with their friends. All of their ladies are at home. They've overindulged themselves, and whatever they want comes out of their mouth. And you know, my favorite thing in the world is for people to ask me how tall I am. So, Vegas is good for small doses. And so I went down, and the best part obviously was being able to get to see the Kings play in person, you know, watching them on TV during Summer League. It's a little different to get a feel. And it's always great to see everybody, right? You know, got to see people that I haven't seen in a while. And it's just a plethora of NBA people all in one place. So it's cool in that sense to be able to kind of, you know, talk to everyone and catch up with everyone, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Jason, let me add into, by the way, real quick. This reminds me when I was I had the pleasure and privilege of accompanying Kayte and friends on the Kings China trip, and this is no joke. You had DeMarcus, you had the whole Kings crew there. I think Kevin, that was the Kevin Garnett Nets. I'm not joking. Nobody was asked to take more pictures or sign more autographs than Kayte Christensen on that trip. This is a true story. People lined up and they saw this tall woman and proceeded to, there were lines to hang out. And
I'm even more of an anomaly in China. Yes,
so she gets a little bit of that in Vegas. And Jason, I know you were down there with her as well with that experience. And she had fun despite the fact, again, that I was fighting for my life back home. But either way.
You were the hero in all of this. Is clearly what we've established.
I got made to feel so guilty. And he's telling me that he's fighting for his life. And then I'm like, by the way, how is your mom doing in the hospital, Dave?
Yes. By the way,
drama.
She's out. Thank you very much. Jason, go ahead.
Dave never let us know any of that. He was telling us about how he was going through COVID, though.
Yes. Well, you know.
Oh, yes. It's all about him.
Yeah. Well, Kayte, I will say this, and you know this. I mean, this whole experience, it's an NBA who's who, but it's also, if you're in Vegas, I will have to say this, it's, for better or worse, it's amazing people watching here. I mean, right? For better or worse, whether you're in the gym or anywhere around this city, you see everything, and that's in good and bad.
You do. Yeah, you do. That can be kind of a fun component. But, you know, I was there for a very, very short period of time. I got to see the game on the 10th. And you know what? I was really kind of impressed, really impressed to see, especially to see Keegan play in person. It's a much different feel than it is on TV, because you have the ability to kind of see his personality a little bit better, which I am so shocked about how calm and collected he is, right? For a rookie, especially, you can't force him into anything. He's not going to get overly emotional. He's not going to be forced into taking, bad shots. He's just going to play his game, and he's so even keel. Like, probably, I talked about Davion and his rookie season, and he's kind of the same way. But I mean, it's kind of an anomaly with rookies, but I think that, they have more experience, more college experience. And that really, I've always been a huge proponent that, one and done is not the best case scenario for a lot of guys coming out, because they have a ton of talent, but there's still so much growth for them to experience. And I kind of feel like experiencing it in college a little bit longer serves them better in the long run in the NBA. But, those two are perfect examples of that.
Kayte Christensen joining us. Kayte, we've been talking about this. I'm very excited about this team, as so many others are. There's been some awesome additions, and one of those being Mike Brown, who kind of gets lost in the shuffle with the Keegan Murrays and Herters and Monks of the world. But Mike Brown's the guy heading it up. And my biggest worry, and I think a lot of people's biggest worry going in, is, okay, they definitely added talent. They're a more talented team now than last year, but not really many defensive improvements. None of the people coming in you look at and go, oh, that's a guy who can help anchor the defense. So my question for you is this: do we overrate, underrate, or properly rate the effect that a coach can have on a defensive team?
I think to a certain degree, personnel obviously is very important, but so is system, right? So is system and kind of how it's implemented and how guys buy in. And it was interesting. I believe that Mike joined, I think it was Doris and Mark Jones of the game, that he joined them for a little bit, and they were talking about defense. And I found it really intriguing what he was talking about. He's like, listen, the most important thing for me when it comes to defense is really making sure that everyone has bought into the system and understands it. He said, because there's not a lot of one-on-one stoppers in this league. He said, you can't rely on guys to be able to just do it on their own. It's collectively as a unit that they have to be comfortable. It has to be a system that works and that they've bought into. So I'm really, really curious to kind of see what he puts in, what he implements, how guys buy in, because, this comes to mind. Nemanja Bjelica, right? Obviously played with the Kings before he, just won a title in Golden State. People gave him a lot of kind of flack for not being a great defender, right? But he was a great team defender. Like, he really was. One-on-one, no, he's kind of slow-footed, not super athletic, but he absolutely found himself in the right spot because he was playing within the team defensive concepts. And he was an effective defender, an effective team defender, way more than his athletic ability, really allowed for, because he was playing within a system and he understood team defensive concepts. And so that's kind of what comes to mind when I was thinking of, what Coach Brown was talking about, is like, listen, not a lot of great one-on-one stoppers, and teams don't usually have multiple of them on one roster. So it's how do you implement it so that everyone's playing within a team concept defense, and that's where you're most effective.
Kayte, based on what you said about Keegan and what they've added, what do you think about their outlook for the upcoming season?
Well, first I'll talk about kind of, the summer league guys, right? Mimi has been really impressive to me to see his growth from his first year to now, and his effectiveness as a defender, but he's knocking down threes. He's confident. He's kind of talking a little bit. I was really impressed by him. So I'm excited to kind of see his further growth. And if there's, going to be a role for him up with the Kings, and what that might be, right? And then Keon Ellis, really impressed by him. I mean, obviously he can shoot the ball. He's young, so there's mistakes, there's turnovers, there's silly things, but I'm excited to see what he's able to do with the Stockton Kings and what that might translate to down the road for the Kings. But when it comes to Malik Monk, Kevin Herter, we've obviously added some shooting, which is really, really important on this team, because you have guys like, Domas, De'Aaron, Davion. None of them are at this point in their career knockdown 3-point shooters, but they're extremely skilled players, right? And so to open things up to kind of make it less congested for them to be able to do what they do best, you have to surround guys with shooters. And I am really, Malik Monk just absolutely slaughtered us last year when we played the Lakers, and we got it from Herter too with Atlanta. So I'm really excited about those pieces. I think that they can really make a big difference. And now it's just about, when you look at, Herter and Monk, they played big minutes. So how are minutes going to be distributed? What's the effectiveness? How are they, what groups are going to be kind of put together, and how are they going to, kind of figure out the different groupings of players to be successful, so that, there's not a big drop off when you go to the bench, or, those are all things that from a coaching perspective as a staff, you have to figure out. And the crazy thing about it is, training camp is not long enough to do that. We all know that. So to me, it's like, I have a feeling that by Christmas, we're going to have a much better indication of kind of, where this team is going, because it's going to give them time as a unit to figure each other out, but also for the coaching staff to figure out, exactly what works best for them out on the floor.
That's Kayte Christensen, fresh back from Las Vegas. You can see her along with Mark Jones and Kyle and the whole crew each and every day coming up this October. Enjoy the rest of your off season, Kayte, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, fellas. Have a good one.